All right, let's get into life path number 1 and essentially understanding what life paths are in general. Life paths to me, and I've stated before, I'm not trying to take credit for the formulation of life path numbers at all. It is not my system. But as someone who tends to disagree with the numbers people put to certain energies, right? Or someone that disagrees with other numerologists' perspective of numbers and the meanings they've granted to numbers, I feel that I want to express my opinion of what a life path would entail for each number. Now, to me, what life path means is the most prominent energetic focus in this lifetime. Okay, so when we're talking about someone, and I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So if someone is a life path number 1 in this lifetime, this is someone who is exhibiting the energy of an initial separation from source, because source is 0. 1 is that first step outward into your own experience. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So what I've written down here is that for me, life path 1, this focus is self. Okay? This is the initial creation of your own space. Okay, because essentially life paths are all about focus, regardless of hurdles and other influential energies. So if life path is number 1, your key focus is self and all that entails, right? So what's going to come with this is learning what you want and opening yourself up to the concept of purpose in general. Okay, forging a path for the first time, essentially. Okay, so this is someone who is establishing their own values. And they hold those values very near. And they have high expectations of others as it relates to the values they've placed on themselves. So this is someone who is still discovering their desires, right? This is someone who desires freedom. This is someone who desires creating for themselves, right? These tend to be the lone wolves, okay? With that's going to always come a desire for adventure, but also a tendency to isolate. So when I provide certain attributes, don't be offended, because I'm always going to provide the persona aspect and the shadow self aspect. In other words, what we shine light on the most versus the more repressed aspect, but a tendency that is still present, okay? That is why it's so important to do shadow work, to understand your full spectrum, okay? So let's get into it. When we talk about certain attributes, we're talking about selfishness for life path number 1. But also it could come with a tendency to people please. Okay? This is why it's so important. Every time I talk to you guys about certain things, balance is key. Okay? Neither of these are good or bad. But when you can meet somewhere in the middle, right? That's balance. Okay? You want to be kind, you want to be mindful, you want to be giving, but you don't want to be a people pleaser, because that comes from a state of insecurity, a fear of abandonment. Okay? Life path number 1s can be incredibly authentic, or they can have a fear of authenticity and tend to be a little bit false, right? And tend to be what they think others want them to be, okay? So it's important for you to pay attention. Who am I? And exude that in the truest sense to the world, okay? Balance, okay? Now, this can be someone that's overly firm in their boundaries, or this can be someone that lacks boundaries altogether, hence the people-pleasing tendency, right? You're not quite sure at times. You can possess a sense of uncertainty, right? Internally about who you are and who you want to be in this world, okay? And that is going to require courage to truly step into yourself authentically. Life path number 1 can tend to be someone that is a pleasure seeker, okay? You can also be a leader, but right, this can also come with a huge ego, okay? Because you're not quite in that 2 energy yet. So you're not really as concerned with others, or how you may impact others, or how your choices impact others, or even wanting to fully integrate with others, right? This is the focus of self, life path number 1, okay? In all regard, okay? So we're talking about 11 energy here. We're talking about, and I've done a video on this, we're talking about the people that are really just wanting to just enjoy right? Wanting to enjoy interpersonal experiences, not be fully committed to any one individual or any one idea, right? Because 2 is also the number of the mindset. This is someone who's still figuring out, their worldview. So remember, life path number 1s, you are in control of who you want to be. No one else. You are in control of what you think. You are in control of what you believe. You are in control of how you want to see the world, the information you want to take in versus the information you want to dismiss. Okay? Make sure you're not being manipulative. Make sure you're not being too wayward, right? Because it is important to also hold responsibility in this world. And when you choose to hold that responsibility, try to be mindful of others in your pursuits. Okay? Make sure that you allow others in, right? Because the tendency to isolate, the tendency to want to be a lone wolf and forge your own path, right? It can be lonely. So make sure you allow others into your space while you are also simultaneously working to establish said space. Have a great day, you guys.